Hey everyone, and welcome back. Now today we're here with Altcoin Hero, and we're going to be talking about each of our, both of our top 2 altcoin picks coming into 2025. So it's going to be a really, really interesting video. You definitely want to stick around, hear about all the different picks that we have going on. As his name implies, Altcoin Hero is definitely well versed within the altcoin space, so you're going to want to listen to what he has to say. Also, I will plug all of his socials down in the description below, and we'll actually get to that here a little bit later on in the video. So anyway, let's go ahead and dive right in. So starting out, I guess I can lead off with my first altcoin picks, Altcoin Hero, and then we can talk about, kind of from your perspective, maybe, I can get some feedback on kind of what you think about the ones I've got, and then we'll bounce kind of just back and forth, do that type of thing. Does that sound good? And also, before anything else, welcome to the channel. It's nice to have you here. Yeah, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I appreciate you having me on the channel. I'm excited to be here. Discuss some of our top altcoin picks. I think that's where the market is heading as we head into 2025 here. So I'm excited for the future. So yeah, if you want to go ahead and jump right into it.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds good. And before we get started, I will just mention that we are going to do kind of like a companion video over on Altcoin Heroes channel, where we are talking about, will altcoin season happen? What do we think needs to happen for altcoin season to happen? A lot of that type of stuff. So that's kind of more of like the big picture, and this is more of like the specific, these are the coins that we're really looking very closely at heading into altcoin season. Alrighty, so we'll jump on in. We'll take a look at the first altcoin that we are excited about coming into 2025. This one is my pick, and then we'll obviously bounce back to Altcoin Heroes. And as many of you know, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you're very, very familiar with ICP. ICP is one of my personal favorite altcoins. The main reason why is because I think that there's obviously, it's a larger market cap, so definitely something that's like not going to be one of those like $100,000 gems or anything like that. But I do think there's a lot of really, really interesting things going on within the ICP ecosystem. We've seen a ton of growth in the past year within ICP. If we go back and we look, we can take a quick look at the dashboard here. We can see on the dashboard there's a lot of different important things that we can look at. And so first off, we can see hovering around about 4,000 transactions per second, which is pretty good overall. You can see the cycle burn rate around a trillion cycles per second, which again, if you don't know what that means, the cycles essentially is how things run on the Internet Computer Protocol. So it's a very, very important metric to track, because if the cycle burn rate goes up, that means there are more people using it. Also, transactions per second is a decent metric to track, but we can see that this one, if we actually scroll down a little bit, has been somewhat level. So not a whole bunch of growth in transactions per second, but this one is really hard to say if it's because of the actual usage of the chain, or if it's tech limitations. And from what I understand, it's just usage of the chain. The tech limitations would allow a far, far larger transactions per second throughput. And also, as we can see, the cycle burn rate has gone up very, very consistently, particularly kicking off in the last quarter of 2025. So if this continues into the rest of the year, we could see some really, really interesting stuff. So anyway, I do think just kind of how ICP overall is built, a lot of what they're trying to achieve, things like that, could be a really, really strong kind of dark horse pick for a layer 1 type of situation. So that's kind of my first pick. What are your thoughts about that, Altcoin Hero?
Yeah, I think ICP is a great pick as well, right? I mean, as you were just showing, it's good to see the growth. It's large enough in size. I think being a layer 1, we're going to want something that's a base layer that other things can build upon. So I definitely think ICP is a great pick. And I mean, building on that, I also want to mention, Hedera also just announced a partnership with ICP as well, which I think both of those are really trying to accomplish the same thing. They both have powerful smart contracts. They're both very efficient. And so I think together, both of those are a very solid partnership moving forward. And I'm very excited for the future of ICP. So
Cool.
if we want to go ahead and jump into the next coin here, I can go ahead and share my screen as well. I'm just talking about the different cryptocurrencies. And so as I mentioned, there's the ICP and HBAR partnership that was just announced recently. If we'd also take a look at the HBAR chart here, we can see we had consolidation here. We did break out of this wedge pattern here just a few weeks ago. We did break to the upside. Right now we are seeing some resistance. However, we can see that this is forming support here at the previous resistance, which I think is very positive for the technical analysis here on HBAR. And so once we do break to the upside here, I think we will see much higher prices for HBAR moving forward. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at some more information here that I don't think people are familiar with Hedera here. And so they've been working with WorldPay. WorldPay addresses this challenge with an innovative proof of reserve system built on Hedera, providing cryptographic evidence that stablecoins are fully backed. And so, using Hedera here, they have 50 billion transactions that are processed annually by WorldPay, $1.3 billion of payments processed in stablecoins in 2023, and then $2.8 trillion of projected value with stablecoins by 2028. And so we're seeing a lot of these partnerships here being announced with Hedera. WorldPay works with some of the largest banks out there. There's partnerships with Bank of America. There's partnerships with a lot of other banks utilizing this technology, and they're using Hedera HashGraph here. Now, Hedera also has a lot of transactions here as well, right? 71 billion transactions. And so a lot of those are coming from WorldPay. However, we're continuing to see this number jump up here. We also had information here that HBAR has other partnerships out there as well. And so we also have other news from HBAR as well here with other partnerships. It seems like a new partnership is coming out every day for Hedera. And so we have Drop and Truist here. Now, Truist is one of the largest financial institutions in the US. This is trading on the New York Stock Exchange with over $60 billion market cap. And so these two are collaborating on integration of real-time payments via APIs. And so we're continuing to see this type of collaboration with WorldPay, now Drop and Truist, and they just partnered with ICP. And so I think HBAR is going to do big things moving forward. Now, Kate, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, I'm super interested in seeing kind of what Hedera does as we kind of move on into 2025. Obviously, you know, as a supporter of ICP and as an ICP fan just more generally, I'm obviously very encouraged by the partnership news between Hedera and ICP. I think it makes a lot of sense for both of them. From my general sense of things, just from like capability of throughput, it seems like ICP is possibly a little bit more capable. And so I think there's definitely a strong benefit to Hedera there. I also think there's a strong benefit to ICP because Hedera really has started to catch a lot more attention, which ICP has, I would say, kind of been systematically overlooked. So it's good to see that ICP is kind of taking advantage of that type of thing. Hedera is also taking advantage of that type of thing. I think it's something that could be mutually beneficial for both of them, which I do think is good. Also, I just, you know, it's nice to see people work together. The biggest thing that like is important, particularly if we, you know, kind of head back to the comment on stablecoins. Stablecoins, I think, get overlooked a lot of times by just everybody in the crypto industry because it's very boring because we can't make a 50 or 100 or whatever X on stablecoins. But stablecoins really kind of run the crypto world right now, right? And so it's really interesting to see that there are more people trying to kind of take a piece of that pie, which I think is kind of interesting. So yeah, no, super interesting overall. I did want to say, kind of before we move into our second round of predictions overall, if you are interested, please do give both me a like and a subscribe, as well as Altcoin Hero. He is on both YouTube as well as X. Really great content. Like I said, if you're really interested in some very like niche alpha within a whole bunch of different altcoins, he covers basically all of them. So, you know, if you are looking for that type of stuff, definitely go take a look there. We also can see he does have an X account as well. So if you're looking for some of those updates and following him on X as well, also tons of options there. So definitely go give him a like and a subscribe. Check out his channel. Really good stuff overall. So now moving on, I wanted to go into our second round of crypto altcoin picks. My first one is going, or my second one, I guess I should say, is going to be the Virtuals protocol. Again, if you have tuned into this channel fairly regularly, you do know that I'm a big fan of the Virtuals protocol. Right now, obviously, we have seen a pretty strong pullback on the Virtuals protocol. It topped over, I think, just over $5. We're now back below $2.50. So over a 50% pullback. For anybody that is new to the crypto space, this may seem a little bit scary, but anybody who is a crypto veteran is probably very familiar with how this type of stuff goes. Many coins that we saw in 2021 prior to the kind of ridiculous bull run that we did see, many of those kind of went up 3, 5, 10x, pulled back 60, 70, 80%, and then went to do 100x from there. So definitely, like, this is not anything that we haven't seen before. Again, we never know what's going to happen for sure. If altcoin season doesn't come, maybe just, you know, things just never pan out like we think they're going to. But overall, I think we're seeing a ton of growth in the Virtuals ecosystem. If we do take a quick look over to the actual like Virtuals protocol itself, we can see a whole bunch of different like AI agents within. We can also see they've actually sold off pretty well as well. So, you know, maybe potentially a good time to get into the AI agent space if you do believe in kind of like the long-term utility and vitality of the space. I do think right now the AI agent space is very new. It's really hard to know for sure exactly how it's going to play out. And so I think that's why there's just so much like rampant speculation, is because nobody really knows what these types of things are worth. As we kind of progress, you know, through time, we'll kind of start to figure out what they might do and what their value could be, a lot of that type of stuff. But at least for right now, we don't really have a super great sense of what that could look like. Altcoin Hero, what are your kind of thoughts on the virtual space, AI agents, whatever, all that type of stuff?
Yeah, AI, the sector itself, I mean, in the cryptocurrency space, we see a lot of narratives, right? I mean, it seems like if you follow the AI narrative, we see a lot of attention on that. And I think that we will see those cycles come again. especially with the altcoins starting to heat up into 2025. I think the AI sector is one to be paying attention to. And as you mentioned, it's maybe down 50%. However, those are oftentimes very good buying opportunities for cryptocurrencies that got a lot of attention. I mean, if you look at virtuals, I mean, it went up very quickly, right? I mean, that was over a 3 or 4 week span. We saw the chart go up significantly. Now we're pulling back. And so that's good consolidation from a chart perspective. And then if you're looking into AI, it's going to be a hot sector, I think, coming up, especially with NVIDIA doing really well, right? We just had Donald Trump mention that the AI sector is also going to get a lot of money put into that as well. And so I think that's something to be paying attention to.
Yeah, no, I think you make a great point. I think that's definitely kind of what we could potentially be seeing with the AI space. And AI overall just seems like a very consensus pick. So it seems pretty safe that one of those could do fairly well. And virtuals is one that's seen a ton of really, really strong attention. So anyway, before we move on into your second altcoin pick, I did just want to give a quick plug for BTCC. I am still working with BTCC. I do have all the links in the description below if you do want to go ahead and get signed up. They are still doing that 10% bonus on first-time deposits, which is a really, really great deal if you ask me. It's basically free money. I love free money. Altcoin Hero loves free money. I'm sure everybody here loves free money. So really, really nice there. They also do have that extra bonus of up to $10,055 per user. So a really strong deal there as well. Been around for a long time, have a ton of crypto options, as well as up to 500x leverage. Again, I never use leverage this high. I think it's basically gambling at that point. I basically never use anything over 100. And even then, like 99.5% of the time, I'm using like 5 to probably 15% leverage, or 5 to 15x leverage. So be very, very careful if you do want to use leverage. Also, no VPN or KYC necessary if that is something that's important to you. So like I said, just go ahead and check the link in the description below if you do want to find a new place to trade, and go ahead and get signed up. Alrighty, so let's move on to the second altcoin prediction from Altcoin Hero. What do you have for us?
So the next altcoin I want to talk about here is Ondo. This has been getting some attention recently, currently at $1.44 here. We can see we hit an all-time high right above $2. And so Ondo is focusing on tokenization of assets. They're focusing on tokenizing treasuries. And that is something that Larry Fink with BlackRock has mentioned since the ETF went live in January of last year. Now, the ETF's been around for a year. It has had great success. However, I think that tokenization is going to be the next step. We just had Larry Fink actually say that just a couple of days ago at another event as well. And so if we go ahead and take a look at an event coming up for Ondo here, it's the Ondo Summit. This is coming up February 6th here. This is coming up in less than 2 weeks, and it's going to be held in New York. And I think that this is being overlooked personally here. And so if we just take a look at some of the speakers that are involved here, I've been to the Bitcoin conference, I've been to other events, and I've never seen a lineup of speakers like this here. We have BNY Mellon speaking. We have Fidelity Investments. We have BlackRock, the Chief Investment Officer of ETFs and Index Investments. We have Nadine Shakar with DTCC processing over $3 quadrillion of transactions annually in 2023. We have Sandy here from Franklin Templeton. We have Rod from MasterCard. We have Chainlink being involved. If we take a look at some of the other speakers here, we can see we have speakers from Wisdom Tree. We have Wellington Management. We have David Schwartz from Ripple. We have the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, CFTC. We have 2 people speaking from that as well, right? Those are some of the decision makers for finance today. This is definitely something to be paying attention to. We have Pantera Capital. And so we can see we have a ton of different speakers. They're continuing to add more and more speakers to this event. And I think it is going to be massive moving forward. This is going to be onboarding a lot of the traditional finance space into tokenization. And so I think this is something to be paying attention to. This could have a big impact on Ondo moving forward. And so, Kate, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I am super, super bullish on just RWAs generally. I think RWA is going to be a multi-trillion-dollar asset. And you could almost even kind of, I would say, fork that asset class almost from just Bitcoin generally, right? Because I think bringing assets on chain is going to be huge business. I think like there's no reason we shouldn't have all property on chain, right? Like there's this whole there's a lot of people that don't realize. I'm sure like, if you've bought in a house before, like you paid a whole bunch of money at closing to title insurance. What title insurance actually does, I have no idea. Like, in my opinion, title insurance seems kind of like a scam. But like it's a multi-billion-dollar per year type of racket, right? And so the fact that like we could just bring property on chain, there we have immutable proof of like, ownership between people. Like we can just completely remove title insurance from the game, which is a multi-billion-dollar a year industry, which means there's an extra multi-billion dollars a year that can go elsewhere and improve, the world, the economy, all that type of stuff. So there's a lot of different things like that. One thing I will say is kind of like a bit of a contrarian approach to RWAs. I don't necessarily like, I love it. I think the idea is there. I'm certain that it's going to be a multi-trillion-dollar industry. The only thing I'm not certain on here is, so far a lot of it seems to be very like gated behind like VCs, banks, a lot of, just because they control a lot of the RWA. So of course it doesn't make sense to let like us normies in it, $1 million market cap when they know it's going to be $1 billion company or whatever. So I kind of understand that, but I think Ondo is 100% the best pick here as far as like RWA is concerned. I'm a little bit concerned about us being able to get into some of these truly like massive RWA plays, just because I think so much of it is going to be gated behind a lot of these big banks and things like that.
Yep. Yeah, we definitely hear that, right? I mean, Larry Fink knows that as well, right? I mean, he's the one talking about it, and I definitely believe they're making progress towards that. But I do agree with you as well. Just a lot of it's not going to be accessible. I mean, tokenization of assets definitely makes sense. I mean, if you're looking at tokenizing property or tokenization of stocks, it's something that Ondo's also focusing on as well, where you can transfer different stocks. If you want to buy Tesla, you can transfer it over to another person. So they'll handle all of that in between. So it's definitely something that's going to be paying attention to it. They also have an announcement coming up on February 6th as well, which I believe is going to be the Ondo global markets, the launch of their tokenization. And so I think that's going to be introduced at this event as well with all of these speakers. And so definitely something to be paying attention to. Obviously, we don't know what impact this is going to have. However, if we do look at the bigger picture here and some of the speakers that are speaking at this event, it could be very bullish moving forward.
Yeah, no, totally agree. Yeah, really, really interesting picks that we've gone over here today. I'm very interested to kind of see how some of these picks age, how well they do. I think we covered a pretty wide spread of like all the various kind of like subsectors within crypto that these provide. So, definitely a lot of different options here for people if they're looking to start their research into something else. Of course, none of this was financial advice. These are just our opinions on things that we think could be good. You may agree with us, you may disagree with us. Either is fine. Just make sure that you're not making any financial decisions based off of what we're saying, just because we're humans too. We could always be wrong, right? It's very important to remember that. So anyway, yeah, I think we'll wrap it up from here. Thank you so much, Altcoin Hero, for coming onto the channel. We'll definitely do this again. This was a bunch of fun. I really appreciate your picks and your insight. I think you have some really, really awesome insight into just the altcoin market generally. And so I really appreciate having you here on the channel and talking a little bit about, some of the possibilities that we could see in 2025.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Yeah, I look forward to that as well. And we'll have to do a future video together.
Yeah, for sure. All right, everybody. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you did enjoy the video and find it useful, please do give both of us a like and a subscribe. Obviously, for me, the like and the subscribe button is just like probably right below at the bottom of the video. For Altcoin Hero, I am linking all of his stuff in the description. So if you do want to find him, that's going to be the best way to do it. Also, probably at some point, actually maybe like even right now, I will actually probably be earlier on in the video. There would have been something up on the screen somewhere to prompt you to subscribe to Altcoin Hero as well. So definitely a lot of different and hopefully easy options for you guys to do that. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, thoughts, feelings, anything like that, also please do drop those in the comment section below. I do try to read and respond to all of those. So I do really appreciate your guys' feedback. A lot of you guys have a lot of interesting comments, a lot of things like that. There have been several people who have been on a kind of like a side note who've been shilling XCN to me for months, and we finally started to see that do some wild numbers. So, I definitely do very, very much appreciate your guys' feedback. Yeah, keep it coming. I think it's really, really great. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.